Today, we're going to be taking a look at the top 25 selling Junkwax era cards on eBay for the month of October 2024. I'm just going to warn you, you're going to see a ton of 1987 Fleer basketball cards on this list, but you are going to see also a few cards that sold for over $10,000. You're going to see Jordans, you're going to see Jeter, Frank Thomas, and much more. So let's jump into this list right now. All right, so let's take a look at our top 25 Junkwax sales for October. And before we do that, if you're new here, here's the rules for the video. The cards have to be between 87 and 94. I don't allow for duplicate cards. I try to grab the highest selling price of a single card. But I do allow autographs or any type of variants. And then also graded and roll cards are okay. So we're going to start off with this iconic triple auto. We have Musial, Mantle, as well as Yaz. This was issued by Score. I want to say that there's like 500 of these on top of my head. I probably should have put it on this screen, but this 8 sold for $4,050, and I want to say this is like one of the first triple autos also in the hobby. I mean, for how much autographs go for in today's age and modern cards, I'm shocked at the price on this. I would have thought it would have been much higher. It's still quite an expensive card, right? But you're talking about 3 absolute legends. And let's move on to number 24. You're going to see a ton of 87 Fleers, as I alluded to in the intro of this video. We're going to start off with the Michael Cooper. I looked up the pops for each of these also in PSA 10s, so that way you guys have an idea. This has 13 10s out there. This sold for $41.61 and 22 cents. Up next, we have a Joe Barry Carroll. Pop 15 in a PSA 10. Sold for $41.81. Changing it up a little bit into a 1992 Stadium Club Beam Team of Shaquille O'Neal. This is a common card also that is featured on the video. Both the Shaq as well as the Michael Jordan are 2 of your most popular cards out of this Beam Team set from 92, obviously being a Shaq rookie card. There's 127 of these that are in the PSA 10 grade, and this sold for $4,200. Up next, we have a 1993. Next, we have a 1993 SP Derek Jeter. These have taken a hit a lot over the last few years, but they're still pricey if you can get them in high grade. And 9.5 is an awesome grade for this card because they do chip easily. You don't see that many 10s. What I will say is we're going to see a 10 from the set a little bit later. So make your predictions on what player that is. But this one sold for $4,361. Jumping into the number 20 spot, we have a Clyde Drexler, Pop 24 in a PSA 10, which is much higher than those other cards. And Drexler Hall of Famer, much more popular player in general. This one sold for $44.01. All right, number 19, we have a Frank Thomas, no name on front with an autograph with the number as well added to it. From just the appearance of the card, it looks a little bit nicer than a 4 or 5, but you can see that they have damage on all of these corners. We'll also see one of these a little bit later in a nicer grade with no autograph, and that's one of those classic examples of allowing both in this video. Also, I'm really curious how this card does in the Golden 100 because they do have a PSA 10 out there. I have no idea what to expect, but yeah, 46.65. Another prone card over here to chipping. We have a 1990 Score supplemental. I've owned like 2 or 3 of these before. They move really easy, but this is a pristine 10. The edges are stopping it from getting a black label. Sold slightly under $5,000. I want to say raw. These are, I haven't priced these in a while, so this is just me spitballing right now. I want to say it's anywhere from like $30 to $50. All right, a classic card also over here of Mantle and Ken Griffey Jr. There's 3 different versions of this card. You have one with Mantle only as an autograph. You have one of Griffey only as an autograph, and then you have one that has them both together. And this one sold for $5,000. No grades on anything, just slabbed as an authentic auto. 1994 Finest Michael Jordan Refractor. No peel. The peel has been removed off of this one. And second year refractor, because 93 finest was first, but still sold for $5,000 in that 10 grade. 1989 Hoops on card autograph over here, a post pack auto. This sold for $52.02. 1988 Fleer All Star Jordan card number 120. In September, a 10 did 5,400, so about the same price, right? 385 PSA 10s out there on this card. A 1992 Upper Deck MVP holograms. Pop 23 and PSA 10. What I found interesting is this exact same card and cert sold in September at an auction for $7,500. This one sold for $55 right now. 1993 starting a lineup, Michael Jordan, a PSA 10. I wanted to show you guys also what this looked like with the figurine over here and the two cards. Obviously, that card is not getting a 10, but this sold for $5,600. We have a autograph of Michael Jordan on the back of the card from 1988-89 Fleer. And this one sold for $57.55. Not the best autograph, but I guess getting any type of MJ auto in person is better than not having it, right? But before we jump into our top 10, I wanted to go over some honorable mentions with you guys. So let's jump into them. So up first, there's some high sales of these Desert Shields. So let's cover those. Up first, we have a Nolan Ryan in a PSA 10. There's only 60 PSA 10s out there. He's card number 1 in that 1991 Topps set. This sold for $32.38. Then we also have a Bo Jackson that sold for $1,800. And also, if I didn't talk too much about Desert Shields, and these were supposed to be distributed in the Middle East, although apparently some never made it overseas and were just opened up here in the States. But these are pretty tough to find. It's kind of like a version of a Tiffany, right? These were not mass produced, unlike the 1991 Topps. Also, as a bonus on this card, you can see the person taking the picture with his camera. I see the shadow, but not to go off topic on that. One of the first, actually no, I think this is the first Ted Williams autograph card that's pack inserted. This is hand numbered to 2,500. This sold for $2,800. Here's the PSA 10 I was talking to you guys about, a 1993 SP Chipper Jones foil. This sold for $3,550. It's a Pop 41 in the PSA 10 grade. Another 87 Fleer, John Lucas, Pop 17 PSA 10 at $3,500. And another Tony Brown, Pop 16 PSA 10 at $3,850. All right, let's go back into our top 10 now that you guys saw some honorable mentions. Yeah, another 87 Fleer. This one is a Pop 20 and sold for $6,100. Then we have a 1990 action-packed promos, silver, of Michael Jordan. I believe these came in both silver and gold versions. If there's another version, please let me know. This 9.5, which I assume these are very tough to gem, just based off of being kind of like a foil texture on them. This one sold for $7,500. Although I will say curved corners, you do have a little bit of leniency from grading companies, at least from my experience. We have a 1987 Sidney Green. This sold for $7,600 in our 8 spot. Jumping into 7, Rolando Blackman, card number 12, Pop 34 at PSA 10. This sold for $7,600. I'm curious why this one's sold for so much if it's a Pop 34, whereas others are like Pop 10s, or not Pop 10, but like between 10 and 20 and sold a lot less. I assume this is a common, although I'm obviously not a huge basketball expert like some other people. This is a 1990 Frank Thomas no name on front in A7. This sold for $76.55. What would you guys rather have? That 4.5 with an auto, or pay a little bit more to get this SGC 7 with no autograph? Although I assume you could just technically crack this and get Frank Thomas to sign this at a card show. That's definitely worth your value, right? Jumping into the number 5 spot, we have a 1992 Classic 4-Sport Shaq autograph. I wasn't too familiar with this, so I did a little bit of research. So there's only 2 Shaq autos that are in classic packs, a number to 150, and then also a blue ink number to 500. On the forum post I was reading about, the number to 500, there may be 2 different cards of that because Shaq signed a bunch of those at the National, probably 1992 or 1993 National. But yeah, those are there's not many autos like today. Jumping into the 4 spot, Beam Team members only. If you do see the members only version, these were inserted within the sets, although they're still very, very tough. And you can actually see the stamp on this one, as well as a nice fingernail and the phone that the picture was taken off of. But if you look right under Beam, you can see the stamp right there. In our 3rd spot, we have the classic 89 Upper Deck, Ken Griffey Jr., the first card Upper Deck ever produced. 98 PSA 10s with an autograph associated with it. This sold for $9,324. In the number 2 spot, we have Scoring Kings. This is a 1 per box, kind of like an insert 10 card set. This sold for $12,322. Again, super condition sensitive. But what's your predictions for our top sale this week? Well, that is going to be a Barry Bonds O-Pee-Chee in a PSA 10 from the Dimitri Young collection. And if you aren't familiar with the Dimitri Young collection, highly suggest that you look that up. What an incredible bunch of vintage cards that were all in 10s. Dimitri did sell way too early before the spike, but still got some. And that's it for this month's video. And if you want to check out the last Junkwax video, I'm going to put it on the screen right now. Thank you to the following channel members. And if you want to have your name at the very end of the videos, make sure to join as a channel member. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed, and I will catch you with next month's Junkwax video.